and welcome to another episode of the Light Within Us podcast. Today is a different kind of day because I'm on the other side of the table. I'm going to be sharing my story, which I'm a bit nervous about. But helping me in the conversation, and the person who's going to be leading this conversation is someone who I love and I've known for a long time, and I'm so excited for where her life is going. But I will let her introduce herself.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sarah Moihaki. I'm a writer, I'm a producer, and I'm a mental health champion in my community. I've written over 1,000 episodes of TV. I've
Really
written
good
about...
ones.
Oh, gosh. Thank you. That feels really good to hear. I've written more than 10 films. And I'm just getting started.
Yay! You'll hear more about her later. Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm handing over the reins of leading this conversation to you.
I take them. Thank you. All right. So Melissa.
Yes.
Tell us about your journey.
Okay, so I'll start in the lead up to me getting pregnant.
Yeah.
So I grew up in a very blended family. Like my parents split before I was old enough to remember, both remarried, divorced, remarried. So I grew up in a very blended family. So I never had that experience, or at least I don't have a memory of ever having that experience of like two parents in the home, at least my biological parents together. And I remember from very young, like being very certain, like I'm never going to get this experience, but my kids will get this experience. So it was never a question to me of like getting pregnant before I'm married. Are you mad? Like me, I always used to tell people like it can never be me. It can never be. So that was my childhood. Leading up to when I got married, I started dating someone just before COVID relationships, girl. But yeah, so I started dating someone just before COVID. Maybe I should also say for context, when we were dating, I've never been on birth control. And it's not a decision I made lightly. Like I have done my research. I probably know more about birth control than most people on birth control. And it wasn't the right decision for me. I didn't want to do it. So we are newly dating, very newly dating. And God. So I'm late. And 1 day, 2 days is kind of normal for me, although I'm pretty regular. 3 days, 4 days, I'm like, okay. So I'm just like, let me just test. But again, see, in my mind, I know there's no such thing as a baby before I'm married. So I feel like I'm just like, that's not even an option, but let me take a test so that I know for sure, so that I know it's just my body being haywire for whatever reason. So I remember I was at home. I used to spend most of the weekends at his house. COVID relationships, because this was during COVID. This was lockdown time. So I remember being at my house during the week and taking the test in the evening. And it's not the first time I've taken that test, because at the end of the day, I'm aware I'm not on birth control. So anytime I'm in any way late, like I'll always test just to make sure. So it was just like I'm going to test and it's going to be negative, move on with my life. Girl, I took the test, 2 lines. I don't even know how to like describe that feeling. It was just like, this is not real. This cannot be real. But also this is not good. Like this is not good. This is not what I wanted. Like what? And I remember,
had you guys... Oh, sorry.
no, go ahead.
Had you guys like discussed children, marriage?
As in us getting married?
Yeah.
Girl,
and having kids.
We were so young in that relationship. It was like, I think we were like officially like a month in.
Okay.
But we had discussed, like anyone who knows me knows, and I'd also made it very clear, like me, I want kids, me, I want marriage. And I'd also made it very clear, like I'm not on birth control. I don't have intention of being on birth control. I'm very pro-life, so there's not going to be a discussion if I get pregnant. So now if you want to take your risks, you do that knowing that information. So
Mhm.
that's as far as kind of we had that conversation. Um, so I found out I was pregnant. I took a picture, I sent it to him. He didn't really say much. Then I remember I went to the roof of the apartment we were in, and I called my friend, like actually a fellow actor.
Mm.
And I was just like, girl, like, oh my God, like this is not good. Like I didn't want this. Like, no, like, and she was just like, no, Melissa, this is good. Like, congratulations, you'll be a great mom, blah, blah, blah. And I called him afterwards, and he didn't really have much to say. So we were just kind of like, okay, let it settle in and we'll talk about it this weekend when I go to his house. Um, yeah, so I went to his house, didn't really talk about it. He was kind of very unemotional about it, kind of very distant about it. His thing was just like, okay, cool, well, do what you need to do and then let me know. Like, let me know what the financial implications are. He didn't want to like you know the way like if you're going through a pregnancy, like you partner with your
Mhm.
partner and like let's look for hospitals together, let's do this. There was nothing like that. It was just like you go do it with your mom and then you come and tell me like what the financial implications are. um and we didn't, yeah, and it was just kind of both of us were just like, we are idiots, like how did we do this? Like how did it happen?
Mhm.
um so everything was okay, maybe like a week or
Mhm.
2 weeks.
Mhm.
I do remember that there started to be insinuations on his part that like I got pregnant on purpose or something.
Oh.
And one thing about me, it's like I always tell people like believe and say the worst truth about me, but don't lie. Like don't misrepresent me. And that was not
Mm.
true, of course. Remember, I said me, I was like, there's no possibility of getting pregnant before I'm married. But I
Yes.
started to hear these insinuations of like I did it on purpose or something. So there was already space there in that relationship. It was starting to become distant-ish.
Was he
Um,
saying this to you? Like,
he wasn't saying it straight up. It was the insinuations that he was making that was true.
and the insinuations were to you, not other
Yes.
people.
No, it was
Okay.
to me.
Okay.
Yeah. So we were okay maybe a week, 2 weeks. And then I remember I was in my house. It was a Thursday. And at that point we had like my mom was there, my brother, my cousin, my sister, her kids. And so we didn't have a nanny because we're like, we're all adults. We can handle the
Mm.
house. But it got to, I remember this day, I was just like, these bathrooms, I don't know what got in my head. I'm like, these bathrooms are dirty. They must be deep cleaned. All of them. In our house, we had 4 bathrooms.
Mhm.
So I spent the whole day like deep cleaning, scrubbing everything, the walls, the bathtub, blah, blah, blah. And I remember at one point my mom being like, Melissa, you know you're pregnant. Like, don't. Also, I should say, like when I told my mom, she was actually very supportive. She was just like, okay, congratulations. But she was also like, Melissa, you know, you don't have to marry him because of this, or you don't have to move in with him.
Oh,
And
amazing.
no, but I had already, even before, I'd already told him that, like, I don't believe in marrying someone for the kids, and I don't
Mhm.
believe in moving
Mhm.
in. And when we had the conversation, when I went to his house after I found out I was pregnant, that was one of the first things I told him, like, we're not getting married because of this, and we're not speeding up our relationship because of this. Like, no, we're not doing that, and I'm not moving in. Um,
Mm.
so yeah, I remember my mom saying, Melissa, you know, take it easy, like you're pregnant. But I was just like, I'm not overexerting myself, as in like, yeah, like I'm just cleaning, blah, blah, blah. So the next day he comes to pick me up, take me to his house, and I was feeling really sick. Really, really sick. But you know, I've never been pregnant before. So half of me was just like, okay, maybe this is the way I'm supposed to feel because I'm pregnant. But I just felt so nauseous, like I had a headache, like I felt really, really sick.
Mm.
And the next day we went to his best friend's house, his best friend and his wife, and we're hanging out. I'm still feeling very off. And then I went to the bathroom and I'm seeing blood, bright red blood. So, so I'm just like, okay. I feel like for me, when I'm in a traumatic situation or a surprising situation, my first instinct is to cut off my emotions and just be like, just do what needs to be done. Just
Mhm.
find out what's wrong. Do what needs to be done. So I didn't cry about it or anything. I was just like, okay, well, if I'm miscarrying, that's what it is. So, but it wasn't a lot. It wasn't a lot of blood. It was probably what you would call spotting.
Mm.
So I went and I sat with him and they had friends over and blah, blah, blah. And I told him at a point, like, I'm bleeding. And I don't think he understood that that's not okay to be bleeding when you're pregnant. So I was just like, okay. And so I remember the rest of that day when everyone was having fun, I was on my phone researching. Like, I'm bleeding. Why am I bleeding? Blah, 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 blah. And I didn't want to go to the hospital because number one, I was just like, if I'm miscarrying, what are they going to do for me? Like, there's no point. Like, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. And then also it was lockdown. And by the time I'd seen that, it was almost like curfew time. And I was just like, "Ay, those videos of cops beating up people randomly." I'm like, I don't want that story. And then also, I'll be honest, there was a part of me that felt like if I had asked him to take me, he wouldn't have taken me. He would have come up with an excuse not to take me. So I researched the whole night. I'm seeing some things that are saying, well, there's some people who bleed in their first trimester and it's fine. Some people saying, okay, I know this is the beginning of a miscarriage. And so we went to sleep. We went home. The next day we slept over at the friend's house. We went home over the next day, continued to bleed. But still lightly. The next day, same thing. And then I think that day he had a friend and his wife come over. So see me, I'm girlfriends. So me, I've scrubbed the whole house and I cooked all the food. And yeah, and
Do
then
you
they
have
were,
energy?
huh?
You have energy to
I,
cook
I
and clean and
remember I did feel very tired.
yeah.
That was one of the symptoms that until I found out I was pregnant, I had not even thought about it. But yeah, you do what you need to do. It wasn't energy that was low enough that I couldn't do those things. I was just tired doing them. And I think because of the insinuations that I'd been getting from him that like I got pregnant on purpose, I hadn't even given myself the opportunity to be happy about the pregnancy at any point, because I was just like, now if I show any happiness about the pregnancy, then he's gonna take that as like, see, it's evidence that I was right, that you did this on purpose. And so I remember when his friends were over, I was washing the dishes afterwards. And I remember that was the first time like I talked to my baby and I was just like, please, like just hold on. Like, I've got you, just be me and you, but like I've got you, like don't die. Like don't die. And we went to sleep. The next day, my partner was sick and he went to the clinic, came back home with meds, and I was fine at that point. And then I started to cramp. Well, obviously it was contractions, but I started to cramp and I started to bleed a lot. So he's in the sitting room watching TV. So I go to the bathroom and I miscarry. Like I'm bleeding a lot. Loads of like chunks coming out of me. Like it's weird because I know I was in so much pain because I remember crying from the pain. But when I think back to it, I don't remember the pain. I think I was in such a state of shock. I don't remember the pain.
What do you remember?
I remember there was a point where I looked into the toilet and you're obviously because I could feel the chunks coming out of me. And to know that that's your child's, I remember looking into the toilet and I actually like reached in and pulled some of the chunks out because I was just like, I just wanted to see, like, can I see my baby? Like, can I see anything? And I remember flushing the toilet and just feeling like that was the most inhumane thing. Like, yeah, like there was just a moment I was just like, this cannot be an experience that a person must have to flush their child down the toilet. Like it cannot be like, what? You know what I mean? So I remember that and I was just bleeding a lot. Like I was filling a pad like every 10 minutes. Like I was bleeding a lot. Um, but he didn't know anything. He was watching TV. And so I got up and like I said, in traumatic situations, me, I switch my emotions off. So I was just like, Melissa, like, don't cry, don't break, just do what needs to be done. And you need to go to the hospital because, what you need to make sure you're not hemorrhaging. You need to make sure everything is okay. So I went to the sitting room and I told him, you need to take me to the hospital right now. Like I'm bleeding a lot. And girl, he looks at me and he's like, I can't take you. I've just taken meds. Yeah.
Okay.
And yeah, so I walk away and he just continues watching TV. So now I'm like, okay, I need to go to the hospital. So I'm texting my mom. I'm telling her what's going on. She's calling me and I'm telling her, um, I'm going to come home and then you take me to the hospital. And obviously she's like, what are you talking about? Like, no, you and your partner go to the hospital. I'll meet you there. Like, what are you talking about? Why are you coming home? But obviously, like, at that time, you're in love. You don't want him to look bad. So you don't want to say anything. So I was just like, no, mom, like, just stop asking me questions. This is what we're doing. And a cousin of mine had given me a Guyna's number, which was a friend of hers. I didn't tell my cousin I was pregnant. I told them it was for a friend. So I texted the Guyna and she's like, yeah, come in immediately. So I get dressed. I go to the sitting room to pick my boots. I'm putting on my boots. I've called my cab and my partner walks in. And he's just like, okay, so what's going on? And I was just like, don't act like you care now, my friend. I just told you need to go to the hospital and you have no sense of urgency. Like, you don't even care. Like, stop asking me questions now. Like, you don't care. I've figured everything out on my own. Thanks. Go away. Um, so I left. I got in the cab to go home. And I remember, like, because I debated before I got in the cab, like, should I take a towel? Because I don't know how heavily I'm going to bleed. I don't want to bleed into this cab driver's seat. But I didn't take a towel. So I remember the whole time, like, there was a little bit of traffic at a point. I'm just like, please, like, let me just get home quickly because I don't want to, like, bleed into someone's seat. Like, that's so embarrassing. But at this time, my bleeding had subsided. So I get home, and I was acting like everything's okay. Me, I feel like in traumatic situations, I act like everything is fine. So I was like laughing, I'm cool. I went to the bathroom, changed. I ate half a banana, and I was like, cool, mom, let's go. So we go. And in the cab, I'd texted my mom and I told her, do not cry, do not react, please. Like, let's just get through what we have to do. Because that was my big thing for that day, was just like, don't cry, don't break, just do what needs to be done first. You can cry after at home. So we go to this doctor and she's like, oh yeah, I'm sorry that happened, but you need to have an ultrasound so we can see what's happening. And it was like in a medical building. So we went to the office that has ultrasounds. And the whole day, like me, I want to cry, but like, the way when you're crying in to the
Like
point,
Kiwaru.
to the point like your throat hurts.
Yeah.
So I'm like that. So we go to do the ultrasound. I remember lying on the bed and just telling myself, like, just look at the ceiling. Like, don't look at the screen. Don't look at your mom because she's gonna make you cry. Just like focus on the ceiling. And I still very much remember that ceiling. It had like small boxes. And I was just like, just count the boxes or look outside, but don't look. And so I was just like counting the boxes and just like telling like trying to disassociate from that moment. Um, and so we do that. He's doing the ultrasound. Obviously, there's no heartbeat because at that point, I pretty much knew I'd miscarried. And then he's like, okay, so as you can see on the screen. And so I looked. And I remember he said something that when he said it, I just wanted to stab him in the throat because I was just like, how can you say that? He was like, as you can see, Isha Toka. And I was just like, you're telling somebody that their child just died. What kind of language is that to use? Isha Toka, like, it's not even a person. It. I just remember it just hit me like someone just punched me in the gut. Like, how can you say that to me? And then he was just like, okay, well, I need to use the wand ultrasound, which now like literally goes inside of you. And I'm telling him I'm still bleeding. And he's like, no, it's okay, it's fine. So he's doing this wand ultrasound. It's like messy, it's bloody, it's blood everywhere. No, obviously, there's nothing, like the same thing. So he leaves us with like paper napkins because I'm bleeding everywhere to like clean up. And we go wait for the ultrasound results. They took forever, even though we were the only clients there. They took like almost 2 hours to get us those results. At a point, my mom was so angry. She was like, this chick is in pain. She's sitting here. Granted, I was not in pain at that time. And that's when I was sitting there waiting is when I texted my partner. And I was just like, well, good news is I think I'm okay, but there's no more baby. And even when I was saying it, I knew that that would be good news to him. Like, I knew he wouldn't be upset or sad about it. So I think he said something like sorry, and then he sent me videos of that were taken that day that I started bleeding when we were at his friend's. And so I go
Videos
of they were him and his friends were like dancing or something, and he had gotten sent those videos, so he was sending me those videos now. I think maybe to like get my mind off of it
Okay.
or something.
Okay.
So I get the results. I go back to this doctor. She looks at the results and she's just like, yeah, you know, you've miscarried. And she's showing me that, but there's still something, some lining in your uterus. But as you can see, your cervix is closed. So there's no way for it to naturally come out. So she's explaining, you know, there are three options. Usually you can go home and just process the miscarriage naturally, or you can take a pill, but I don't usually recommend that pill for my clients because she gave me some crazy statistic, like 60% of the time it doesn't work.
Mhm.
Or you can do a DNC, which
Mm.
is the surgical procedure where they go in and they scrape your uterus clean. So the only option she's really giving me is to do this DNC.
Mhm.
And she asks, do you have insurance? And I'm like, no, but the money's not a factor. I just need to know what I need to do. And then she started being very not excitable. Like she started making it seem like I was, you know, the way a doctor can talk to you like you're in an emergency situation.
Mhm.
She started talking to me like that. She was just like, yeah, you know, I wish you'd even come in earlier. We would have done the DNC today. And, you know, I'm always like so nervous about people in this situation getting an infection. Oh my gosh, you know what? Like, let me even prescribe you like 2 strong antibiotics just to make sure. And she's calling the anesthesiologist to book for me to come to do the DNC the next morning. And it was just so much. And she, you know, she's giving me the pay bill so I can pay her for the procedure, blah, blah, blah. And I walk out. My mom had been waiting in the waiting room. I walk out, I tell her, and we're walking to the car because she's told me I need to go do blood tests because you have to be under anesthesia for this. So you need to do blood tests. So she was like, yeah, go to this hospital nearby and do your blood tests for tomorrow's whatever.
What's the blood test for?
You know, like those ones to make sure that you're healthy enough to have surgery.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, those ones. So we leave. I remember in the elevator, my mom hugged me and said sorry, and I wanted to hit her on the head because I've been trying so hard not to cry, and I'm just like, don't do that. Like, don't hug me. Don't say sorry. You're gonna make me cry. And I've been trying not to break the whole day. But we got in the car, and I was just telling her, Mom, something doesn't sit right with me about what this doctor is saying. It's not sitting right with me because obviously, you know, those 3 days me had been doing research on miscarriage.
Yes.
So I'm just like, what she's saying is not jiving with what me I've been reading about needing a DNC because I have no sign of infection. I'm not heavily bleeding anymore. Like, and we've done the ultrasound, most of it has come out already. Like, it's not jiving. So I'm on the phone, like researching. We get to the hospital, even my mom is on the phone in the car with me researching. And we're like, it's not making sense. So my mom's like, call her and ask, like, to confirm that this is something you must have. So I call her and I'm just like, yeah, I've been talking to my family and they said, like, you know, a lot of the time you can do this naturally. Is there no way for me to do this naturally? And she was just like, no, unfortunately, you remember I told you that your cervix is closed. It's impossible. Like it cannot come out. Yeah, like you need the DNC. So I'm like, okay. So I'm walking to the hospital now to do the blood test and I call my dad and I tell him what's happened. And he's like, you know what? I think he had a friend of his who had literally miscarried, like I think the day before. And he was just like, this friend of mine went to this doctor at this major hospital. Let me give you his contacts, ask him what you should do, and go see him tomorrow morning. So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do that.
Yes.
So we went and filled out the prescription, all those antibiotics and whatever, but I was just like, I'm not taking them. Let me find out what this other doctor has to say first. So the doctor says, yeah, come in the next day, bring your ultrasounds that you've taken the day before. So yeah, I go pick up the ultrasounds. I go to this new doctor. He walks me through it. And like that other doctor, he really walks me through it. You know, he has the models of the uterus and whatever, and he explained everything, like this part of the scan is this part. And when you're pregnant, this is what happens to this. And then when you miscarry, this is what happens to this. And he was showing me, yeah, you still have a bit of lining inside. And he was just like, Melissa, you're perfectly fine. Everything will come out naturally. You don't need anything. I don't need to prescribe you anything. Like you'll be okay. And so I tell him now what this other doctor the day before has said. And I don't know if he looked confused or like, what the hell?
Wow.
Because he's just like, Melissa, you're showing no signs of anything that would need a DNC. And I'm like, And then I show him the prescription of all the medications he's prescribed. And he's just like, he almost chuckles. And he's just like, well, I'm not in the habit of prescribing antibiotics for someone who's showing no signs of an infection. And he's like, yeah. So, and he went and told me, these are the signs of infection. If you do have any of these symptoms, come back. But he's like, yeah. And he's like, even the painkiller that she's prescribed, as in you could just take Panadol. It's not a must. You take this. So you don't need anything here. And I just, let me tell you, Sarah, even till today, the level of disgust I have for that woman, because I'm just like, first of all, you're a woman and you're a gyna. That's one of the most traumatic things a woman can go through. How do you make it worse? You could have made me go for a surgical procedure I didn't need. I've never been under anesthesiology. I've never been under anesthesia before. What if I had a bad reaction and died? And there's side effects to doing a DNC. What if you scarred my uterus and I couldn't have kids and I don't have kids at this point? Like, what was that for? For money? As in, like, what? You have no morals? Like, I just had so much disgust and hate. Till today, I'm just like, the idea of that woman, I'm just like, you're a disgusting human being. So, and I should say, after that day, I went home. Now this is the day of the miscarriage. I went home. I was so tired. I hadn't eaten anything other than that half banana the whole day. But I just wanted to go to sleep. And I went to sleep and I cried. I cried that night. I cried. And yeah, so then fast forward, we've gone to the hospital. The doctors told me I'm perfectly fine. He was like, yeah, you're still gonna get some like contractions and stuff as your uterus is clearing itself out. Girl, that evening, those contractions are not a freaking joke. They are so painful. Because I've gone through labor since. For people who've gone through labor, to give context, like it's like you're having a contraction. When you're in labor, you have a contraction and then you have a few minutes of no pain, you're chill, and then the next one comes. This was like contraction. You have just enough time to breathe in and out, the next contraction, then for like 30 minutes. It was the most excruciating pain I've ever been in. And probably it was also made worse because I knew what was happening, I remember after that so I had a bout of those contractions that evening. And I remember going to my mom and being like, Mom, if this is what labor is like, I don't want to ever get pregnant ever. She was like, don't say that. Don't say that. Then that weekend, my mom had really encouraged me not to go to my partner's house, but I was just like, no, like I'll go. So I go to my partner's house and I kind of felt like still like I couldn't express that I was sad or act like I was sad because I was just like, he's just going to use it as an arsenal to confirm this whatever narrative that he's created that I got pregnant on purpose, So I went to his house. I was acting like nothing was wrong, like I was perfectly fine. I do think like at that time I was very numb to everything, because 2019 I'd also gone through a hell of a lot of grief. I'd lost 3 people very close to me. And I remember New Year's of 2020, I was just like, God, I'm not asking for anything at all, not riches, not money, not career, anything. Just give me a break on death. So when now this happened, I was just like, you know what? I'm not processing this because I cannot go back into that hole I just dug myself out of. So I was just like, just switch off, just ignore. So we were acting like everything is normal, like nothing's happened really. I remember there was a point, he asked me, um, we were watching TV and he asked, so how do you feel about everything? And I was like, I don't know. Because I was still going through it. Like I'm still bleeding, like, I'm still going through it. So I was just like, I don't know. And then also I was just like, no, what's the right answer? If I say sad, you're just going to use that against me. So I was just like, no, I don't know. And I asked him, how are you feeling about it? And he was just like, I don't know. And that was the end of that conversation. And then I remember I had another bout of contractions that night, and I was just like under his shower for like half an hour, just moaning in pain. I was in so much pain. And I think that's the first time that he actually saw, like, oh my gosh, like what's happened to her is serious. Because I remember when I went to the bed, like he came in like asking, like, are you okay? And then after it, like he was just like, I'm never getting you pregnant again if that's what's gonna happen. So yeah, and I remember trying to have that conversation the next day as well. Like in the morning, we were in bed, and I asked him like, "So how do you feel about everything?" And he gave the same answer, "I don't know." And I was like, "Yeah, even me, I don't know." And that was it. We never discussed it again. I do know that I reconsidered being on birth control at that point because I was just like, "Guy, me, I don't want to ever go through this trauma ever again." So I redid all my research on birth control. I'd even told him like I'm considering it. I redid all my research on birth control and I came to the same conclusion. I'm like, I'm not doing it. I don't want this in my body. It's not for me. I don't want it. And I told him that. So I was just like, yeah, I've done all my research. I don't want to be on birth control. And he was just like, okay, whatever.
Is it bringing up condoms?
Nothing. It was business as usual. I feel like I was the only one who even thought about
So birth control is one way.
Yeah,
Not,
he
okay.
never brought it up. He never had a conversation with me like, Melissa, should we consider birth control seriously? Or Melissa, what can we do to make sure this doesn't happen again? Nothing. Like it was just business as usual. Nothing changes. So, so I stopped bleeding at 2 weeks, about 2 weeks, and I had my first cycle, had my first period after that. And so I'm thinking my body's back to normal. I'm back to my normal cycle, so I can track. So everything's back to normal. And then and then it comes time where I should be getting my period. Where is it? It's not there. It's not there. But honestly, I don't know if I was just still very numb. But I just it's never occurred to me really that it could be pregnancy, really. So I'm late one day.
What were you thinking? Yeah.
I was thinking that, okay, maybe my body is still haywire because of the
Yeah,
miscarriage.
yeah.
Maybe that's what it is. So one day late, no. 2 days, 3 days, nothing. So I'm like, okay, maybe it's just still haywire.
Yeah.
And then I remember Thursday again, I think I was like at home with like my cousin, my brother, and I think we must have been like having a cider or something. You know, it's COVID times, you're all indoors. So these people are the only people you're talking to. So I think I must have had like a cider or two at home. Friday comes, I woke up with the most horrific hangover. Like what you would get if you downed like a bottle of vodka. It didn't make sense. Because I'd only taken like 2 ciders. It didn't make sense. I had a horrible hangover. So my boyfriend comes to pick me up. And I'm just like, this isn't making sense. Like, why am I so sick? Like, I don't even remember the last time I'd had a hangover like that. So we go home, I toa lock, but I'm guzzling water because I'm just like, yo, I'm not okay. But I won't lie, like the toaing lock helped a bit. So we go to sleep. The next morning, I'm waking up, the hangover is just as bad. I'm like, that's not normal.
Yeah.
Like, it's supposed to get better day after day. And I had a friend who was coming that evening to hang out. So I'm just like, and then I'm still late. So I'm like, you know what? Like, let me just buy the pregnancy test so that I can rule that out so that I can drink in peace tonight. Because for me, I was just like, it's not that, but let me be responsible. Let me take the test so that I know for sure it's not that, so I can enjoy my night. So I ordered 2 tests. They're delivered to the house. My friend comes over. We're drinking. We're having fun. I remember I need to go to the bathroom. It was around 10:30. And I'm like, see, I know that the pregnancy tests are the best to take in the morning. But I was like, I have 2 tests. So let me just take one now. And just so I can see that one line so that I can go and have fun the rest of my night. So I go take that test. I do the test. Sarah, hand on Bible, it was 1 line.
Okay.
And I was just like, bet. This is what I thought anyway. It's just my body. My body is haywire because of this miscarriage. I'm fine. So I put the test on my bedside table. Go have a good night. The next morning, because I remember even my friend had slept over. So the next morning, I wake up and I'm just like, well, let me just do this other test, just so it's 100% that it's not pregnancy, that I know I'm just late because of this miscarriage. And even just to make myself feel better because I know it's going to be negative, let me look at this other test from the day before. I pick up that test, Sarah.
No.
2 very clear lines.
Oh my God.
Can you see this reaction I'm having?
Yeah.
That's what I did. I just started laughing. I started laughing because I was just like, this is not real life. like this is a joke. Like this there is no I was
Someone peed on it.
yeah, it's like the reaction you would have if you woke up and you looked in the mirror and you're blonde with blue eyes. It's just like it's not real life. Come on.
Yeah.
Like it's so I just started laughing to myself in bed because I'm just like, I just couldn't process it. I was just like, this cannot be real. This is not real. Um, so I go to the bathroom with this new test. I take the test immediately, two very strong lines. And when I tell you I felt like I'd been hit by a train, I had been hit by a train. Like it was, hey. I remember the first thing that I said and the first thing that I thought, and I verbally said it, I was just like, please God, not again. Like, when you see that one, it's just like, because the other one, I was just like, but they say, if you look at the test after 30 minutes, it's not accurate. But this one is accurate and it's very clear lines. And it just hit me, Jesus Christ, God, I'm pregnant. No, like, no, like that's the worst thing that I could have wanted to be the case. Like, I've just lost a child. The last thing that I want is to have another child that I could lose. And I think when I was saying, please God, not again, that's what I was saying. I'm just like, God, you can't make me go through this twice. Like, I'll lose my mind. I can't do this. And I felt like all that grief that I'd been running away from of that miscarriage just hit me. And I was, it literally, I don't know how else to describe it, but it felt like I'd been hit by a train. And I walked out of the bathroom. My partner was like in his study working. I took in the test. He just smiled and like shook his head. And I was like, yeah, well. And then my friend was still over, but I was like, I'm not gonna tell her. So she's there, we're talking, she leaves. And I was just in, I don't know even how to describe what I was feeling. I was in shock. Like I just felt like I'd just gotten hit by all this grief. And then now you feel like I felt like there's a ticking time bomb inside of me because there's nothing I can do to make this child live or not live. So it's just like there's a ticking time bomb at any one moment. I could go through this traumatic experience again, and I don't have any choice in it. I can't run away from it. There's nothing I can do. And I remember like that first of all, that first trimester was one of the worst times of my life. Like it was just one of the most horrific. I always describe it like to myself, I always describe it as like I was getting hit by a tornado and a hurricane and an earthquake and a volcano eruption all at the same time because it was just like my relationship was imploding. I'm grieving this child that I just lost. I'm carrying a child. I don't know if they're going to die or not. And then I'm pregnant. I'm an actor. I'm pregnant. I can't work. I've just gone through COVID of not working. So my savings are dwindling. Now I'm pregnant with a child and I cannot do my job that I've been doing for the last 7 years. Like, what the hell am I going to do? Like, it was just like everything bad that could be happening was happening. And then on top of that, I was sick. I was so nauseous. I was so nauseous, so tired. And I think for me, my worst pregnancy symptom, like that lack of emotional regulation. Now you have all these bad things happening to you. So it's not like you have good emotions going. And then all the bad emotions, it's like times 10 in intensity of how you're feeling them all at the same time. It was just one of the most horrific times. But I remember telling myself a lot. First of all, I didn't go to the clinic. I didn't go to the clinic until 3 months because for me, I was just like, I cannot make this child real and then lose them. I cannot hear that heartbeat and know that it's a child. Because I used to tell myself, Melissa, don't even think of yourself as carrying a child. Think of yourself as your body's in a state of pregnancy. Like just disassociate. Don't think about the child because I was just like, if I lose two children, I can't handle that. So I just told myself, like, don't associate, don't think of it as a child, don't be happy about it, don't feel attachment to it. And I was just like, if I go to the clinic and they do an ultrasound, like I don't want to hear that heartbeat and to hear them alive and then for them to die. I don't think I can handle it. So I was just like, I'm just not going to go. If I'm going to miscarry, let me just miscarry, but let me not have that. Yeah. So yeah, I remember being very like trying my best to not associate, like not have any emotional. I could talk about my pregnancy, like I could talk even with my partner, but in my head, I was just like, I'm not going to emotionally attach to this situation. And I remember there was this app, not an app, it was a website where you could put in your how many pregnancies you've had, your age, how many miscarriages, blah, blah, blah. And they would give you like a graph of statistics of like your percentage chance of having a miscarriage every day. Like 7 weeks, 1 day, 7 weeks, 2 days, 7 weeks, 3 days, all the way until you give birth. And when I tell you, the way people go on Facebook or Instagram every 5 minutes, I was on that thing every 5 minutes. Like it was like an obsession. Like I was just like, okay, so if I don't miscarry by the end of this week, then my miscarriage chance is reduced by 2%. Or if I make it to the next week, then my miscarriage chance is reduced by 5%. And then, like I'll just do all these calculations all day in my head. And yeah, and then another aspect of it was very, the worst thing about being pregnant after you've had a miscarriage is, and one of the worst things about a miscarriage is it's something else for your child to die inside your body because you can't run away from your body. If your child dies on a road somewhere or something, yes, you'll remember it when you pass that road. But now what do you do when it's your own body that they died inside of? You can't run away from it ever. And now I'm carrying this other child. It was like, I just can't run away from it. I can't run away from what's happened. And then when you're pregnant again, it's like every little thing is a constant reminder that this is not your first. So, oh, I'm feeling tired. Well, you were tired before because you lost your child. It was just a constant everything. And then you're looking at all the apps, oh, your baby's the size of a grape now, blah, blah, blah. And especially after my child now surpassed my previous child, it was so bittersweet because I'm just like, my first child never got to be this size. My child never got to be this. My child never got to be that. And it was so bittersweet. Oh my gosh, I cried so much. I was just grieving, but I didn't talk about it with my partner ever.
Did you talk with anyone?
No, I feel like in a lot of ways I'm very male in the way I handle those things. Like I'm just like, just handle it by yourself. So no, I didn't really talk to anyone. I feel like for my partner, all his narratives had been now confirmed because now until you get pregnant 2 times, you are definitely trying to get pregnant. So like, yeah, I was right. I was right all along, even though I'm just like, Connie, were you using protection? Is there something I knew that you did not know? Are you not the one who was trying to get me pregnant? Like, why is it that I was trying to get pregnant on purpose? But yeah, and our relationship, I think maybe in the way that he was processing what had happened, because people process differently, I think our relationship was just fracturing completely. And yeah, so leading up to the ultrasound, and this is now at 12 weeks, my relationship implodes like a few days to that ultrasound. So I'm like, perfect. This is just what I need. Because obviously, like my emotions were very, very high at that time because I'm about to find out whether this child is alive or not. And so it implodes, and it was not pretty. It was very ugly, at least from my perspective. That was the last thing I needed. Let me say it that way. It was the last possible thing I needed for it to implode in the ugliness that it imploded. The things that were said and things like that. So
Is it something you want to talk about?
Not really, because
Okay.
I don't, like, me and him both know. I don't think that's anything, plus also, he's my
Yes.
co-parent now, so
No.
yeah.
I hear you.
Yeah. So, but it was just ugly. It was very, very ugly. What I can say is, and I've told them this a million times, it was just like, Jekyll and Hyde. Which one is the nice one? Is it Hyde who's the nice one, or Jekyll who's I think like, Hyde seems like the nice name.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I feel like he was one way, and then we split, and he just became the opposite. Like he just became not nice. Like all the things that he was saying, I was just like, who the hell are you? Like I was just like, have I been duped into getting pregnant by this person? And he's just been lying about who he is the whole time. Like, who the hell am I? And I'm like, so you were just waiting for me to get pregnant and not be able to get to a point where I could do anything about it for you to like show your true colors. Like, I don't get it. Now I know him really well. I think he was just having a very strong reaction to everything that was happening. But yeah, he was definitely Jekyling on me. So now I go to do the tests for like the first prenatal, all the blood tests you need to do, the ultrasounds, blah, blah, blah. And I remember my mom asking if I wanted her to come. And I was like, no. And I went by myself because I was like, I'm just going to be doing tests the whole day. There's no point. So we do the blood test, blah, blah, blah. And I remember I'm sitting outside the ultrasound room. So, now this is when you're going to find out for sure. And I remember looking outside and just being like prepping myself, like bracing myself, like don't cry no matter what it is. If it's bad news, just don't cry. Just do what needs to be done first. And there's good in any situation, because if there's something wrong with the child, or the child is not there anymore, then you don't have to be attached to this person who you don't even know who he is anymore, because who the hell is he now? And if the child is fine, the child is fine. Nothing else matters. And also, if the child is not okay now, you don't have to have a child outside of marriage. Like, you can do things the way you wanted to do things. Like, yeah, like you can, yeah. So I remember I walked into that ultrasound room, and Sarah, when I tell you, in that, like, because the only other time I'd ever had an ultrasound was the day of the miscarriage. So the moment I walked into that room and saw that machine, it just all came flooding back, like, that day. And I cannot tell you how much I regretted that I was there alone. So I'm lying on that bed, and I said the same thing, just look at the ceiling. And it was a different ceiling. It didn't have boxes. I'm just like, just concentrate on the ceiling. And I prayed. I prayed so much. And I wasn't even praying to God to make, like, oh, make my baby be okay. Because I was like, whatever it is already. I was just like, God, please let me feel your presence in this room so I don't feel alone, because I don't want to go through this alone. And so he's doing the ultrasound a really long time. There's no heart. I'm not hearing any heartbeat. So I'm like, okay, just brace yourself. Don't cry, don't break. Like, just do what needs to be done. And then he turns the dial. I hear a really fast heartbeat. And then he turns it off. And I'm like, okay, I know babies have a much faster heartbeat than us. But I'm like, am I nervous? Is it my heartbeat that's beating that fast? Like, what is it? And then he asks me, yeah, have you had a child before? And I'm like, yes, I have. I have had, but I miscarried. And he's just like, oh, sorry. And then he shows me the screen. Sarah, I don't know if it's because I was in such a dark place. When I tell you that that was like the most otherworldly best moment of my life, like way better than even giving birth. Like, it was euphoric. Like, it felt like I was looking at magic. Like, just seeing my child and them turning around, it was just like I was experiencing magic, like, like, it's a miracle, like, you're experiencing a miracle. Yeah, so he showed me the baby, and the baby was moving around and everything, and he's like, yeah, the baby looks great, it looks good. I remember walking out that room, and I went to the bathroom, and when I tell you, I wish you were in my head so you could understand how real this felt to me. It felt like I was floating to the bathroom. Like, I could not feel my feet on the ground. Like, it was just such a euphoric moment. And I was so happy about that, because I was so scared that it would be very bittersweet, that I would be like, oh, but the one before did not get here. I wish I could have gotten to this stage, but it wasn't. It was so euphoric, and it was just like, nothing else matters. Hey, my baby's okay. Nothing else matters. And I remember even telling not my ex at this point. I was just like, oh my gosh, it was just the most magical thing. Like, oh my gosh. And I sent him the next day when I got the ultrasounds, I sent him all the pictures. And when it comes to the miscarriage, because at that point, girl, let me tell you, had I gone to a therapist at that point, they would have 100% told me, Melissa, you have prepartum depression. I was in such a dark place. But so now after I've seen that child, I felt like that was the moment I became a mom. That's the moment I could be happy about the pregnancy. That's the moment I could feel like, okay, the chances of miscarriage are lower. So, like, I can be happy. I can now be a mom. And I remember sitting down and being like, okay, so my child already is not going to have two parents. Not that he won't be in her life. I didn't know at this point, because he was juggling on me. I was just like, I don't know who you are. But they're not going to have two parents living with them. So if I'm all they get, I have to try my best to be as happy as I can. So I remember telling myself, like, listen, Melissa, you just need to stop thinking about this miscarriage. And I gave myself a promise that when my child was born and 1 year old, I'd give myself a chance to open that Pandora's box and grieve properly. But I was like, just don't grieve now, because you need to be in a healthy mind space. So I would let myself think about it. Um, if I needed to cry about it, I'd cry about it. But I really tried to, like, get myself to not think about it as much as possible. And yeah, then I had my baby.
Oh,
Yeah. My
did
secret.
you grieve? Did you allow yourself to grieve at
No,
any one point, like after a year?
no,
Okay.
no. I remember even telling my co-parent around that time, I was just like, listen, first of all, let me also say something out of for my co-parent's sake. He is a fantastic father. Like he's so fantastic. And he's also a fantastic co-parent. Like I said, I think he was just having a reaction that was not good for me at that time. But yeah, like let me big him up. Like he's such a great father. He's been very supportive. He's a great co-parent. He's a great co-parent and he's a great father. So let me just say that. But I remember around 1 year, around that time, telling him, like, listen, I made myself this promise, so just be easy on me, okay? Any little fights that we're having, because we hardly ever fight, but any little fights that we're having, please don't stress me out right now because I need to do this thing. Have I done it? No.
How old is your baby?
3.
Okay.
And I'm just like, I think there's a part of me that feels, being a single mother is so overwhelming. You're doing so many things.
Okay.
And there's a part of me that feels like I can't afford to be depressed. I can't afford to be in the dark place that I was in 2019 when I was grieving. I can't afford that. I have bills to pay. I have a child who needs me every day. Like, what time do I have to break down? I don't have that time. So I just feel like I'm just like, I just don't have it. I don't have the time for it. Plus, also, I also know that's an excuse. I'm also just avoiding it. I don't want. I don't want to do it. Yeah.
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 Maybe reconsider.
I am in therapy. I've been in therapy since she was almost born. But then how
was that? Being in therapy and pregnant and yeah.
It was okay. I will say, like, I'm a very closed person.
Yeah.
So it's not like I was there, telling my therapist everything. It was a very curated things that I was telling her. Because again, like I'm just naturally someone who likes to process by myself. So she's had to, over the years, I'm still in therapy with her now. She coaxes things out of me. So, but it did help to stabilize me, I guess, mentally. Yeah, but yeah, I definitely, it was a long time before I even talked about my miscarriage or that we processed that. I remember even the exercises she gave me to process that. I was just like, I don't want to do that. I like half-assed them. I was just like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. Like, I don't want to confront this right now. But yeah, so I didn't really. But I think about my child a lot. Weirdly, I've never thought of myself as a mom of one. I've never thought of myself as a mom of one. And I've never thought of my daughter as my firstborn, ever. And I've never thought of her as the person who made me a mom. Like, I've always thought of, I have 2 kids. I just never got to see one. And I think about them a lot. I think they're a girl because ever since I got pregnant with my daughter, I've only ever dreamt about 2 kids. Like when I dream about having kids in my dreams, it's always been 2 girls. And it was never that before. So I have a feeling it was a girl. But I do think about them a lot, like what it would be like for them to be there together and what would they look like? What would their energy be? How would they get along as siblings? Like I really wish my daughter had a sibling. So I think about them a lot. I'll be honest, even now, not a lot, like every day, but like I highly doubt a week will go past that they will not cross my mind. And it's still sad, and there I still cry about it sometimes. I just think it's such an impossible. I remember even saying to myself around the time I had that miscarriage, I'm just like, if there's a flaw in God's design, I think that's it. That a sentient being, not even just a human, even an animal who has to go through that a sentient being can carry a child and have their child come out, die inside of them. As a mother, to have your own child die inside of you and to come out in such an undignified way, I just think that just should not be a thing that can happen. Like it's just, yeah, I feel like if there's a flaw in God's creation, it's that, because it's just so beyond cruel. Like it's how do you even process that? It's so unbelievable, and to actually go through it. And the way that society, that's the thing. And that's the biggest reason I had this podcast, because I'm like, the way society looks at it, I'm just like, am I living in an alternate universe? Like, and you don't even think about it until it happens to you. And you're just like, a mother had a child die inside of them. And as a society, we just tell them like, well, move on.
Yeah.
What's the big deal?
Yeah.
Yeah, like you can have another one.
Yeah,
It's
have another
replaceable. I'm just like,
one,
if someone lost a child at 1 year old, would you tell them any of those things? And I understand the grief of losing a child that was born and the grief of losing a child that you miscarried are different, but I don't in any way think one is better than the other.
Yeah.
Because like when you lose a child through a miscarriage, like you lose everything. Like you don't have, like, all I have to remember my child by is like a positive pregnancy test, which I still have. I don't have memories. I never got to hug them. I never got to say I love you. I never got to see how they smell. Like, and I carried them. I felt my body carrying them, but I never got anything. And I don't have a funeral. I didn't get a funeral. I didn't get the community coming together to grieve with me. I don't get a headstone to go to think about them. And that's something that to me, even now, that's probably one of the most painful things, is just to know, like, my child came out in a toilet and was flushed away. Like, my child, like, that's so disgustingly undignified, you know? And then now there are people who are just like, yeah. And then let me say something controversial,
Okay.
but something that as someone who's gone through a miscarriage, may just feel like someone needs to say. There's a lot of messaging, especially from the pro-choice movement, this arguments that they have about when is a human being a human being. And yeah, but at this time, it's just a ball of cells. It's not a human being. And I understand that when they say it, they're looking to support women who have abortions. But I'm just like, do you have any idea what that sounds like? What you are saying to someone who's had a miscarriage? Like, the level of like, you are invalidating my child's existence, and then also it's like, you're making me crazy. Like, I'm grieving a ball of cells. Like, like, it completely undignifies and invalidates a mother's right to grieve the child that they lost, because now you're even telling them that's not even a child. So if you're grieving them, you're grieving a figment of your imagination. It's so, every time I hear people having those arguments, and they have them so, and a lot of women will have those arguments. It's not a child. It's a ball of cells. It's a whatever. And I just want to punch you in the face, because I'm just like, my child was not a ball of cells. You know what I mean? Even you're a ball of cells.
That's what I
Everyone
was
is a
going
ball
to
of
say.
cells.
Everyone is a yes. Everyone
But I'm
is.
just like, don't you dare invalidate my child's dignity as a human being. I was not carrying a ball of cells. My breasts were not becoming tender because I was carrying a ball of cells. It wasn't a tumor. That was my child. Like, don't you dare invalidate. Like, there's enough invalidating of my child as it is in society. Don't you dare now come and question whether my child even existed or not. Like, it's something that's so painful. And I feel like maybe because people who go through miscarriages don't talk as much, that when people are saying these statements, they forget that those people are also in the room. Because miscarriages are so common, chances are when you're saying that, there's a woman in that room who has gone through it. And what you are telling her is so painful to say. And I would really encourage people, like, you need to be so much more mindful about the language that you use. And you're trying to support this group of women, but you're completely hurting this other group of women. Like, you need to be more mindful about what you're saying, because that's one of the things that gets to me the most. And then also when people refer to me as a mom of one, or in situations, because I don't go everywhere saying, yeah, I'm a mom of two, because I don't want to always tell the story. But there are times, random times, a lot more when I was pregnant than now. But there are times that when people classify me as a mom of one, or classify my daughter as a firstborn, as my only child, it's like someone just stabs you, kidogo, because you're just like, no, like, don't invalidate my other child existed. Like, they lived, like, they were here. They were not here for long, but they were here. Like, no, I'm a mom of two. She's a second born, yeah. But yeah, that's my story. Pretty much. Yeah.
Did you get support? Would you say? And where did it come from?
My family, definitely, especially when I was pregnant, especially like after that relationship had ended. My family was there. And yeah, I loved that I was living with them at that time, because they were a huge support. My mom as well, obviously. But in terms of getting support for the miscarriage, no. But I don't think it's because they didn't want to be there for me. It's because I didn't open up. I refused. Like, I was just like, we're not talking about it. It was so interesting. I was having a conversation with my brother. I have two brothers, well, three, but I was living with two in my life, although one was in uni at that time. And the one in uni, he very recently was like, Melissa, I didn't know you had a miscarriage. Like all this time, even after your daughter was born, I had no idea. And most of the people in my life, in fairness, they didn't know. It was something that like after my daughter was born, I just said in passing, like, oh yeah, so I was pregnant before. And they were just like, wait, hold up, what? Abu, go back. What are you saying? How could you not have told anyone? Like, how could you not have told people? So I don't think that people were not there for me because they couldn't. I think maybe my ex, but I didn't open up. I didn't share, and I didn't want to share. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, something else. Let me just
Yes.
say, just in case there's someone out there who had my experience. Another thing that people said to me a lot, and I was just like, I'm gonna punch you in the face. I'm not a violent person, but if I was, I would. When I got pregnant the second time, that narrative of, oh, but you definitely wanted to get pregnant. Ah, you were definitely trying. Ah, you wanted to get pregnant. You. I remember even my family member saying that, and me just don't say anything. Don't say things like that because for me, I understand what they were saying because like obviously, as in like how do you get pregnant twice back to back? I get what they were insinuating, but for me, the way it landed was just like I just went through one of the most traumatic things in my life. And do you think what I was thinking in my head is I want to go through that experience again? That I want to risk going through that again? Like I found it so insensitive every time people said that because I was just like, do you understand what I just went through? For you to think that I purposefully, intentionally wanted to risk going through that again. Like, are you mad? So yeah, that's just something else. Like, guys, don't say that because you don't know. You don't know this. Unless them, they've admitted themselves, like, yeah, me, I was trying. Like, don't say things like I think just people need to be a lot more sensitive about how what they say can land and don't invalidate people's grief. Just because you never interacted with that child doesn't mean that I didn't. I physically interacted with that child.
Yeah.
So it's not nothing that I lost.
Mm.
But I also want to give a lot of grace to the men. Because I think sometimes as women, we have the expectation that they're going to react in the same way that we're going to react, or they'll grieve in the same way we grieve. But the truth of the matter is, we experienced that child, they didn't. They never physically experienced that child, and they never physically miscarried that child. Um, so I don't think they're evil people for not having that grief or that reaction. I remember even having a conversation with my co-parent. Because after our daughter was born, we used to take her to Arboretum a lot. And I asked him, like, how were you actually feeling when I miscarried? And he was like, yeah, I felt relief. Yeah. And it's something that I knew. I already knew that, but it was obviously it's painful to hear like your child's father was
Yes.
happy that they died and doesn't even consider them a person. But I appreciated his honesty.
Yeah.
And I think there are a lot of men who feel that way, but feel like they're going to be demonized if they say like either I felt relief or I didn't really feel anything or like I'm not really grieving, like because there's that expectation of, but it happened to us. It's our child that died, so we should have the same reaction. But it's a very different experience. You know that saying that like women become a mother when they're pregnant, men become a father when the child is born. It's a very different experience. And so like I give a lot of grace to men. And I think as women, we should also give them grace to have their experience and not invalidate their experience just because it's different from ours, because what they're experiencing is different, you know? But yeah,
Oh,
that's my
wow.
story.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I want to see. Is there anything else you'd like to share?
No, I think I would just want to tell the women who are experiencing that or will experience that. Number one, girl, you're not alone. I'm telling you this. So there's so many of us out there. Um, and whatever you're feeling is the right thing to feel. If you're feeling numb, that's right. If you're feeling upset, that's right. If you're feeling relieved yourself, that's fine. Like whatever feeling that you feel in that moment when that happens, it's right. And if no one else has told you and no one else is telling you, that wasn't a ball of cells that you lost. You lost a child and you deserve the dignity of grieving, losing a child. And yeah, so I'm really sorry that you experienced that loss. And for everyone else, like, yeah, just be more mindful. And I hope that this podcast helps people understand what actually entails having a miscarriage. But yeah, we done?
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I feel like I talked so much. Like you didn't even get that much time to talk, but thank you so much for coming and sitting with me and giving me the space to tell my story and guiding that conversation.
Yeah.
And thank you guys for listening. Do you want to tell them where they can find you?
Like on social media or
wherever you want them to find you.
If you want to interact with my work, there's Nairobi Half-Life on Netflix.
Yeah.
And then there's Shamba la Wanyama on View Sasa.
Yes.
And a whole load of stuff on Showmax.
And a lot more stuff coming
And
in the pipeline. Very exciting things.
Yes, exciting.
And if you want to interact with our podcast, you can find us at The Light Within Us Podcast KE on social media. And really share your comments, DM. If you want to be on the show, you want to share your story, especially if you're a guy, I really want to have men share their honest opinions and honest experiences. Please DM us, get in contact, and we'll figure something out. But thanks for listening, and we'll see you on the next episode.